Hello everyone and welcome back as we're here to kill a little bit of time before these two teams face off yet again. Give them a little bit of a break. 42-minute long game, you know.
Yeah, killing time. Sierra, this is the moment of the show where we get to tell the players to not start the game. You know, they have no control.
This is how we get our podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, before chat goes like cast your start game, we don't actually control that in the end anyways, so like...
You might not.
I have a button over here. I press it, and then we go, yeah.
All right.
Sorry, Sierra.
Well, I figured we'd kill time this time around with a little playoff prophecies. So as we are in week 7, at this point, I figured we could start talking about what we're kind of expecting out of playoffs from these two teams, and then a little bit just in general, all right?
Are we going to get flamed after this?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably, yeah. Like,
Joshi, when do we not get flamed?
All right. That's
fair.
I feel like you're in a little bit of a silly, goofy mood because it's been a long broadcast. It's fine. That's you know?
But also with Steve, these tend to be silly.
True.
True.
It's kind of my brand, you know? I'm rocking a mustache right now. You know? This is the silliest thing you can do.
Factual. All right.
Okay.
Also, we have a new cat in our cat tree. They have officially swapped spots. So
let's go cats.
That's the mood of the day. But our very first prophecy, I don't know if prophecy is the right word, but prophecy is what we're going with now. Between these two teams, which team is making the furthest run?
AOE.
Yeah, AOE.
Hey, I don't know, yo. We're talking about scale it up. You're talking about FLYF's 2 wins, and you know.
How about this? To make it interesting, Josh, let's take different answers. I'll take FLYFam.
I thought you were about to say, I'll take AOE.
No, okay, I'll give the argument for FLYFam. The way that FLYFam's going to make it a deeper run is Instinct and Sword are picking... I mean, the Renata was a new look for Sword. They both played it very well. Lunasia was on Gnar this game, and let's be honest, did not have a good Gnar game. It's not a champion that we know Lunasia for, but I think it's cool that they're trying new things. If they make a deep run, I think it's for one of 2 reasons. Either A, Lunasia practices more on different champions that are not the Jaxes, the Renekton's, things like Gnar, things like Cyan, and can frontline, so Instinct can then have better position in these fights and actually do more damage. Or they're going to go back to the style where Lunasia can carry, be on something where he can just split push, and then Instinct is still playing better and can do better in like a 4v4, 4v5 setting while Lunasia gets the split. Boom, there we go.
Boom.
If they can perfect one of those 2 styles, I could see FLYFam maybe winning like a series in playoffs. We'll see what their first and second round opponents are.
That was a really good cup of cope, I'm not going to lie. That was
Well, we both said the same one, and you were like, well, maybe Frank was doing it.
All right, now here's the thing. Here's the thing, is that FLYFam and AOE are both almost definitely going down to the lower bracket in the first round. Almost definitely.
Yes.
Now, the thing is, after that, it's not ridiculous that they might play against each other again after that, right? If AOE can get like 1 or 2 more wins, and Immortals and TSM don't have the best rest of the split, and AOE can find themselves to the 10th seed, and FLYFam stay where they are, that puts them very likely to actually play each other in the second round. And based on what we saw, it wasn't the cleanest game in the world from AOE, but AOE have proven that they have been the stronger team. If they can find a couple more wins, they are very likely to play up against someone like FLYFam or CLG Faith in the second round, and that would probably be a situation where AOE, they show themselves to be much more decisive than FLYFam, even if they made a couple mistakes.
I'm trying to do like the bracket in my head based on the current standings to see where if they would be in the same side of the bracket. I have no idea, but they're
don't do math on broadcast. Don't do brackets on broadcast.
Don't try and build a bracket in your head on broadcast. Yeah.
All right, and don't grow a mustache. Those are the 3 rules of broadcast. Okay, next question.
Sierra's off the hook for one of those.
Yeah.
Brightest future of the players on FLYFam.
All right, you can take the easy answer this time.
I mean, yeah, it would be Lunasia. I know that the last game was really rough. The Gnar did not do well. But in general, Lunasia has been the bright point for the team. So that's where I'm going. But I do actually think, especially after that last game, and in general, there are other answers. So, Josh, I want to hear your second pick and see if it aligns with mine.
My second pick for the player that I think has the best opportunity to do well on FlyFM going forward is Hyper.
Yeah!
I feel as though Hyper has definitely been a player who, when they were first playing the Academy system, we were not super thrilled with their play, but we saw a lot of growth from them, figuring out a lot of the pathing, and towards the end of it, we were actually saying that they are able to hang with some of the middle-of-the-pack junglers. Now, Hyper still has a lot of room left to grow, but this is a spot where I feel as though Hyper can continue to elevate the rest of FlyFam, and if they can prove that they can be a vocal leader, can still showcase that they have more things left in the tank as they look to go further in this league.
Agreed.
I
think those are the two front runners.
All right, now we're going to swap it up. Same question, but which player has the brightest future on AOE?
Ooh. All right, do you want to go first?
No, I went first last time. You go first.
Okay. Lynx. I think Lynx is probably the strongest player that we currently have on this roster and has definitely showcased that they do have a lot more upside still left to go. They are definitely a player who's doing a lot of the small things right, but needs to get a little bit better of an idea of how to move around some of these team fights. They are using their abilities very well. They're consistently maximizing their damage in situations where we look at players like Reckless who are really good at maximizing damage in 80% win rate fights. Lynx is optimizing his damage much better at 50% win rate fights, and it allows him to come out ahead in some of these fights where you would not necessarily expect them to, and as they continue to refine that, have already showcased that they have been a very strong laner. The biggest thing that I need to see from Lynx is he just needs to not die in the 1v2 nearly as often, right? He was getting caught out quite a bit before, and that's a very easy thing for him to fix in order to elevate his game relatively quickly.
So did you just casually say Lynx better than Reckless? Did I hear that right?
No.
Pretty sure that's the information.
There are some things he does better than Reckless, but not most of them.
Ooh, okay.
Reckless got to step up his game.
All right. Speaking of people stepping up, next question is player on both teams that has stepped up the most in playoffs. And no, we're not allowed to talk about playoff comps for this one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the player that will step up the most. Okay.
Yes.
Well, why can't we do playoff Scomsy? Wait, you're just...
Because that is literally
fair.
You'll like, haha, playoff gumps. You know, if you guys want to do that, we'll move on to the next question. Y'all do you. Like, I'm not here to
I feel like the obvious answer is Scomsu, but I feel like the second answer is Skytech.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely feel like this is a player who kind of got a bad rap because they were playing on Evil Genius's Academy last year, and that team was the most dysfunctional thing I think I've seen in a long time. Like, considering how good all their players were, like, it was bad. But Skytech has been a player that has showcased that they can be a big playmaker for the team, and now that they're on a situation where they are no longer in that situation, I feel like everybody on that team has since gone on to do better than they were on Evil Genius's Academies.
All right.
I'm gonna go to the opposite team. I think that if for almost similar reasons, if not the same, Sword. I think Sword, especially in that last game, this was a different level of Sword than we've seen throughout most of the regular season. If he can hit that kind of performance consistently through playoffs, that's huge for FlyFam. Having a playmaker and also a play dismaker, unmaker, disengager, I think is really big. They get engaged on a lot, so having somebody to stop that and kind of fly swatter the enemy away is good.
All right, and then for our next one, we're going to branch out of just these two teams. So we can talk about any team for this, okay?
Okay.
What team will have the most surprising run in playoffs?
Most surprising?
It can be good or bad. Most surprising.
Is this where we say 100 Thieves are going to follow tradition and bomb out in like the second round?
If that is what your playoff prophecy is, then yeah, you do.
I guess that's 100 Thieves next. So now that they don't have the second team, that won't happen.
I'm going to go with FlyQuest Challengers because I think that throughout most of the regular season, people have kind of written them off, and I was one of them saying this team just doesn't look good considering like how much experience we've currently put at the top half of the map. Where are they stepping up? And yes, while people who have been paying attention and have seen how Winsome has elevated them in the last week, I think for a lot of people who will just be tuning into playoffs, FlyQuest Challengers are definitely a team that is going to do way better than their regular season.
All right, and for Kangus's answer, I am intrigued on this one, but we do have a game around the corner too, so y'all can talk about this while waiting for your bans in Champ Select, and we'll see how the second game shakes up between FlyFam and AOE.
Thank you, Sierra. My answer, I got to go back to the old meme. It's Dignitas. They're gonna bomb out early, so that way we can get Diamond on the broadcast.
But
I know I've already given
been
that
the number
one.
one seed.
Huh?
It's always been the number one seed, right? Or is
No,
it
I
number
thought it
2
was a
seed?
second seed that always bombs out early, which means Cloud9 has to finish first, and then Dignitas has to take second, and then you still have to shave your beard. It's the worst timeline.
It's in the regular
Literally the
season.
most cursed timeline.
It's about the regular season. It's not about the playoffs. It's just the regular season.
Well, yeah, but if they get second in regular season, you have to shave it off, right? And then it's second place. It's always cursed in Proving Grounds.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, but there's no barrage. I mean, AP is already in the league, so
He is. Good point.
I don't think the rest of the players.
Remember Barrage?
Winter, yeah, Barrage/Resolve.
Trying to
It was
even
Winter,
remember that.
Gorica, PCL, Fnatic. I think Fnatic's the only one who's even close, right? He's been playing in like the qualifiers in order to potentially play for the relegations at the end with Native Gaming. Actually, he's actually been looking pretty good. But to get back into the game, we do have all of our bans coming through. Gragas is here, probably going over to Hyper. I would be very shocked if this was picked up by Lunacia, but on the flip side, we do see the standard Jax ban that is being going up against Lunacia every single game.
And I think FlyFam learned a little bit of their lesson, banning away Jace from Dark Wings. They go for the Senna
another
Tom
Senna Tom?
Tench.
Wow. Okay. I'm actually really shocked this has suddenly come back into the meta as it looks to be like a Zarya Rakan kind of counter, right? This was something that has had its time in the sun, but typically when this was a counter, it was because Tahm Kench had the Devour on his regular ability. It wasn't an ult, and you would constantly just get people out of the big burst of damage that the Zarya Rakan could do early on in the game. And now, it's mostly just about the fact that the sustain is really good, and it's relatively easy for the Tahm Kench to get the knockup as the Rakan leaves the engage, because you know that they're going to the Zarya.
Yeah, and you're probably going to get a 2-for-1, because if you do it on the Zarya, she's walking up so that the Rakan can get back, and then you can maybe knock out both of them while he's pathing it back towards her. They're pairing the Zarya Rakan with the Vi, so again, kind of double engage, double dive means that the Tahm Kench gets even more benefit here, because you can protect from the hard engage of AOE. Gragas, in a way, can do something similar. You do have engage as well as peel options with him, so FlyFam, they kind of have a flexible draft so far in terms of how they can approach these team fights, whether they want to go forward, whether they want to go back.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be a big opportunity, right? We've seen this combination quite a bit with the Vi and the Rakan, but kind of as you were talking about the disengaged tools from FlyFam, it's really, really hard to use the Vi ultimate proactively into a Tahm Kench, right? Tahm Kench just sees who you're ulting, ults them out, suddenly they're no longer there, the Vi ultimate doesn't do anything, and so Winnie's going to have to be very judicious in the way that he actually uses these, potentially even going for the Tahm Kench themselves, because turns out Tahm Kench, not like Mr. Manson, cannot eat himself.
He does get tanky, though. So he, it takes a while to kill him. He's got that going for him. It's a very different look for Sword, who is obviously on the Renata Glance last time. This time should be farming on the Tahm Kench. Let's see what AOE want to go for their blind pick of solo laners. They go for Ahri for Dark Wings. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, Dark Wings has been a player that has been very interesting for me to try and evaluate in the way that they have been playing so far, because Dark Wings has been a player that seems to get really clutch in a lot of different situations, right? When push comes to shove, Dark Wings will perform, but in a lot of more standard team fights seems to jump in a little bit early, and I feel like this Ahri could be really good for the way that they have been playing so far. It's going to be going up against Blaze's Aurelion Sol.
Okay.
We saw a lot of tweets about this earlier where people were not happy that this champion was in the game.
Why not? I don't know why people hate on Aurelion Sol right now. I think he's
so cool. He's really cool. He's very stat checky, but he's really cool, and I just love his theme so far. So we'll see if I still like him in about a month or so after seeing him every game in every league for a while, because it is a huge opportunity for FlyFam to do these front-to-backs.
I just love how they literally made a champion in the game that literally looks back at it as he's, E in one way and then Q in another. Or I guess W in one way and Q in another. It is Poppy locked in for Hyper or Lunacia. I guess they could still have this flexible depending on what the final lock-in for AoE is. And it is Olaf. Uh-oh. Olaf's kind of scary.
All right, well, that does mean that Senna is kind of forced into a Blade of the Ruined King style of build like we were seeing in the Cloud9 series earlier, where you do really need to have that there. The other big thing is that there are enough tanks on FlyFam where if Sword is proactive with the way that they're devouring Instinct and or Blaze, suddenly Gamsu might not have a target. So it is a situation where FlyFam can actually play this one through, but they're still low damage. They're still going to be struggling to kill some of these tanky frontliners. So it feels like AOE have all the tools to be proactive, and that's exactly the way that they like to play.
They have so many pick tools, man. Like the Ahri Charm, Vi catching somebody, Rakan catching somebody, and then Olaf's going to be charging down whoever they do end up catching out. So FlyFam need to be very careful, specifically Blaze on the Aurelion Soul. If you're face checking anywhere from mid lane, you are in danger. But come late game team fights, I think it is important to, again, to highlight Sword can show up huge on this Tahm Kench like he was showing up in game number 1. FlyFam looking to play upset for the standings. It is going to be impossible for them to take Team Liquid first spot based on the number of games they have to play versus Team Liquid first's current record in the standings. So at this point, it's just about trying to show you're in good form for the rest of the final weekend before playoffs, and also, like I said, play upset for AOE.
Yeah. Is it impossible? I think it's technically possible.
They have 3 more potential wins that they could grab, which would put them at 5
well,
total wins.
Has 4 more
first
games
are at
after
6
today.
wins as Hyper caught out here in the jungle. Skytech starts it off, and Hyper will get killed by Gamsu. First blood to Olaf.
And it does go over to Gamsu. I do think this is important, right? Because FlyFam, including this game, have 5 games left to play. Whereas,
they have a long weekend?
Yeah, they have a long weekend.
They do have a I did misspeak. Good catch, Josh.
All right, it is possible, just very tough. And if they lose this game, they have to win out in order to even have a chance of tying Team Liquid first, which is very difficult because they're going up against TSM Challengers, and then they're actually going up against Team Liquid first. So that is something that is going to be in their own hands. But from what we're seeing with AOE, Gamsu was already beating Lunacia in the side lane last game. This time he's going to do it in a good matchup and starting with First Blood. So they will get a little bit of extra experience walking into the lane. But interestingly, Gamsu doesn't pull the wave. He's going to try and use this opportunity to push Lunacia out.
Let's see if they can capitalize. They didn't get the purchase. I was looking to see if Gamsu had spent the gold early on here.
Has not.
No, so it feels good to get that first blood, obviously, but we don't see a crazy acceleration from the level 1 because of it necessarily. Just the XP that you can hit that level 2 first, which Gamsu has hit level 2 first. Lunacia will have to catch the wave now.
Yeah, Lunacia will be in a bit of a struggle bus for a little while, but we will see what it is that Lunacia can actually do. At the same time, we always have to look at how aggressively these lanes can actually play as Instinct.
You're taking a lot of damage.
Taking a lot of damage.
Level 2 was hit, so they think that they can just hard force their will on the opponents, but it is still Xayah Rakan, strongest 2v2 level 1 in the game potentially. So they synergize a lot. They have a lot of damage. It's kind of how they work.
Just giving the extra attack speed and damage on auto attacks from Xayah to Rakan is like the one special thing that they do together is cool. And haha, denied the cannon. Get wrecked, Gamsu.
Also does a decent amount of damage right there. Interesting to see Lunacia go for the highly mobile rune selection here. Not doing a lot of burst or being tankier. The phase rush means that you can reposition and kind of move around the battlefield pretty quick. Darkwings, meanwhile, raiding well into Blaze.
Yeah. Oh, doing a really good job at just making Blaze uncomfortable. And this is definitely a lane where Darkwings does need to be fairly aggressive in order to make sure that Blaze isn't stacking up minions to turn them into that Stardust, into the Aurelion Soul dollars. And so, Darkwings trying to trade very aggressively will give them a lot of opportunities, but I'm getting very worried for Lunacia's HP pool. Does have the flash available, but Winnie's already here.
As gonna get dove. Sees Winnie now. Says, Blaze, hey, can you teleport to me? Can you help save me right now? Because even Darkwings is coming up for this one. Who's taking the turret first? It's Winnie. That is Flash. Ooh, Winnie takes one more shot. No teleport from Blaze, though. And AOE successfully dive. Get another kill to Gamsu.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely a spot where it feels like Blaze could have teleported, but, you know, getting flashbacks to game 1, goes for the teleport, gets nothing out of it, and now FlyFam with 2 kills going on over to Gamsu on this Olaf. Going to be a massive problem coming through for the rest of FlyFam in
Look
this
at this
game.
build. Look, it's tier for Lunacia to a Vampiric Scepter. for Gamsu.
Hyper, he's gonna flash.
Flashes the wall, goes right onto Lynx. Flash was still available, so Xayah is out of there. And AOE's bot lane do absorb the gank.
Where was the steadfast presence?
Good question.
Like that stops Skytech in his tracks, right? Like he can't get out of that. Darklings does a lot of damage to Blaze.
Right back though. Blaze actually, oh wow, that was a lot of damage back.
Yeah, good stuff from Blaze to actually be confident in their ability to trade back. But yeah, I think there's a definite spot, right? After the flash, you just jump onto Lings, knock them forward, and then by throwing up the steadfast presence, Skytech can't jump to them. That's something that we've been praising like some players for, is their visualization of how these actual fights are going to go. And something where Hyper forgot to think that one extra step ahead. I think they could have gotten another flash from that situation, and maybe if Sword is paying really good attention, can also get the knock-up onto Skytech.
It is a decent cooldown. I'm wondering if Hyper had used it earlier just for the movement speed to get into that spot.
It was up the entire time.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I was watching.
Either way, not used, which means only one flash, as Winnie will claim the track. Yeah, 1 HP.
Got him.
Yeah. Tried to do the cool fadeaway where you walk and your little pet gets the kill, but...
Yeah. Do you remember seeing that video of Mark playing Ezreal jungle, stealing the dragon?
That was an incredible video.
Yeah.
Front page of Reddit, I think, yeah.
It was. I think it had actually his most viewed TikTok of all time.
I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah.
It was a great play.
It was on the LCS channel, or broadcast.
It was, yeah.
Bit. Yeah. Was it the lack of lock-in that they put it on?
The what?
Yeah, it was, because it was the thing that we were there, where it was the Zoomer Boomer event.
Yeah,
Anyway.
They were showing off the new changes for the jungle items. Good times, good times. That was quite a while ago by now.
True. Yeah. It was like 7 weeks ago. Because we're in week 7. Anyway, this game is looking very, very rough. The one thing that FlyFam have going in their favor is the fact that Lynx and Skytech have not been able to farm super effectively, right? Lynx is down currently about 2 waves. And has no flash.
Pick. Nah, no follow from Sword.
But yeah, the fact that Lynx has not been able to farm super effectively, partly from the gank and partly from this lane matchup, being surprisingly strong for Instinct and Sword, is definitely a situation where they can find some bit of advantage in this bottom half of the map, but there's still a lot of divers that they are going to have to deal with all at the same time, and I think it will be difficult for them to keep both Aurelion Sol and the Senna alive, as we just see that Darkwings, once again, I mean, is winning these laning phases, right? Remember how many plates they got as Jace into Annie last time? Now they're already starting to get the first one.
As the Ahri, it's a little harder to do that than the Jace, who's got built for that.
Hyper, you see that?
Huh?
All right, hold on. We'll get back to it.
Oh, we got another dive top lane. Oh, Lunacia again. Darkwings for the second time roams top. Syncs up with Winnie, and they get the kill. And now it's literally just deja vu. Hyper splashes over. This time Steadfast Presence is up, and Lynx does not have the flash still, so he goes down. A kill picked up for FlyFam.
Yeah, and getting a bunch of souls. They're going to be able to pick this up. Not going to be able to get this dive off, but they will get at least 1 plate, maybe even a second one if they do choose to stick around. So much money currently getting picked up for the bottom side of Instinct and Sword. This is a huge turnaround from what we were looking at before, but AOE, not a whole lot of options here for Lunacia. Does end up just dying outright. As Hyper comes around for the second time, throwing down the Steadfast Presence does prevent Skytech from being more aggressive and not able to even use the Battle Dance to give Lynx a couple of shields. Skytech just has to back off and recognize his AD carry is gone.
I like it from Hyper, the focus on bot lane, whereas typically Hyper had been looking more towards, honestly, mid lane and top so far early on in his coming to the team. The newest addition to FlyFam. But with Hex Flash as Poppy, it's a smart move to just continually go for that bot lane. They're behind in gold, but it is a sign of life for them that Senna picked up some early gold from that kill, and also the turret plates will help out in that endeavor too. He's looking for it again. Look at that. Skytech push into the wall. That's a stun. Is level 6, so might look for more. As Lunacia again dies top lane. That is a rampage for Gamsu.
What a brutal spot. At least Lunacia will have teleport this time, so we'll be able to get some of this. Ultimate being used from Blaze as well. And how can people hate that? It's so cool.
It looks sick. It is way cooler than his last ultimate. Even though I do miss the little stars spinning around him. Gamsu gets another plate. That's 3 plates and 4 kills to Gamsu at 9.5 minutes in this game. This is a disgusting lead. Like, look at what Lunasi has. That's just Lucidity boost.
Oh, God.
This is a 2,600 gold lead.
And he's sitting on 1,000 of it, right? Like, there's so much money going over to Gamsu. This is one of those games, right, where you look at Gamsu and how he's been saying that he wants to learn to be a better carry. This is the kind of game where you set him up this far, and if Gamsu doesn't carry, that's where you start looking at the reviews.
Pops the Ragnarok, and we'll clear out this wave. Lunasia no longer has Explosive Cask. Could die under this turret to the next wave coming in here. Herald's dropped mid. Meanwhile, as AOE sent 4 members in, that's a charm that lands, and Blaze has to flash, but he's still picked off. AOE get a kill in the mid lane, and they will take this whole turret.
Oh my gosh, that's so much money yet again. 3,000 gold at only 10 minutes. Only 1 plate. It's so tanky now, right? Every single time you take a plate, it increases the tankiness of the turret. But
yeah, it does.
Top lane, double CS. Mid lane, this turret is barely alive at this point. Bottom lane, I mean, there's actually a pretty big lead here for Instinct and Sword. But when it's 2 lanes who have an advantage to only 1, I don't know if Instinct and Sword will be able to scale long enough into this game to actually have an opportunity to play it out, especially with the first dragon already going over to AOE. FLYF don't even have a soul to play for.
And Gamsu will just take this turret by himself here. Maybe even on this wave. Lunasi is going to run up. As the wave crashes in, Gamsu, it has more armor the more units or enemy units are around it. So Gamsu being alone probably will have enough to claim it, as opposed to the 4 members of AOE that were on the mid turret. And yeah, Lunasi can't even walk up.
Gamsu letting these minions die to the structure as well before he kills it to deny a couple more CS. You know, it's like, what is that, like 50 gold-ish, 50, 60 gold that was just denied from Lunasia, but the experience, the gold, you do that multiple times over the course of the game, it will add up. And so, AOE, I'm a little bit surprised that they're not already looking to play for this upcoming dragon, but they also can just let Gamsu continue to do this over in the side lane.
Or they could link Gamsu up. He's got the teleport. He could teleport to the bot lane.
It's not unlocked yet.
And then link up. No, he's just running over. So Gamsu is taking the trek through mid-wave. FlyFam set up around the dragon, but they cannot hold their setup. AOE are approaching, and they push FlyFam back. So this dragon blocks AOE.
Yeah. Another dragon, another win condition coming through for AOE. And I did look it up. AOE do not, in fact, have the longest game time.
Oh, wait a minute. Hyper's verdict. But Hyper can't. Is he going to
Hyper's
flashes in? Okay. Oh, and it's still picked up by Winnie. It was a cute move, Hyper, but
cute. It was very cute.
Doesn't work.
Keeper's verdict gives him the chance, but Hyper's verdict was not enough. Winnie slams down the gavel, picks up another dragon for themselves. 5,000 gold at only 13 minutes. This one's looking pretty over. But we said that about last game too, Steve, when AOE was super far ahead, and we got some miracle steals coming out from FlyFam. But AOE, they're now moving between the turrets to lock people off. Lynx is no longer being prevented from farming, is able to pick up some plates and recover some of the gold that they were losing.
And now Winnie might have went a little far forward here. Oh, Instinct barely missing out on that route. Darkwings finally will claim this mid turret. Everyone from FlyFam's bot. I mean, they have Lunasia alone top lane. Nobody is answering Darkwings here. They went for a very aggressive play, hoping to catch out AOE bot, but they're punished for it. They're losing camps. They're losing waves.
Yeah. And you need to make sure you can control your camps, especially when you have a Senna on the field, because you can move around and start picking up souls from this as well. 53? I'm trying to remember what the number was for CLG. It's like 59 at 12 minutes.
Yeah, it was still
minutes.
in laning phase when CLG had that, so by the metrics of what we've seen so far today, Instinct is slightly behind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, same lane situation. Definitely more attention from Hyper being paid to the lane in order to try and help them out. So, you know, a little bit behind, but not out of the realm of, like, what is reasonable, for sure.
Lane assignments have swapped now for AOE. I love to look at teams and start rating them, because again, it's a developmental league. This is not the LCS. This is not the top competition in the region. These are the players trying to make it to that point. So how do you close out a game from this position? you know, we can start analyzing their decision making when they're going for these resets. Because right now they have their bot lane or mid. They've sent Darkwing's bot lane and actually have Gamsu in the long lane as the Olaf. What do you think about this? Should Olaf instead be on this bot turret? Because he's going to be able to hit that easier.
He's going to be able to hit it, but the big thing is that if you want to snowball a game, you need to do it by removing opponents from the game, right? One thing that I think would actually be really cool if Gamsu hadn't built up the Ravenous Hydra is if he just froze the wave, right? Like right about where he is now, because there's no way that Lunacia can ever walk up to him. And as soon as Lunacia shows somewhere else on the map, then Gamsu just like hard crashes it in order to prevent Lunacia from ever really getting money from a lane again. As it is, because you do have the Olaf, you do have the Ravenous Hydra, the big thing is how you pressure them off. You need to try and create situations where Lunacia doesn't even feel comfortable trying to farm underneath their own turret. Use those opportunities to then rotate out of the wave in order to start picking up even more of these camps, and thereby remove Hyper from the game instead.
As of now, it's just crashing. The Lunacia can catch it under the turret. The rest of AOE are backing him up here. FlyFam have a little bit of vision to play with. They see that the blue buff is being taken, but it's also difficult for them to walk up. Skytech making their life kind of hard, but that's actually pretty cool from Instinct to realize, nope, that was a bluff. Blaze
go for it
now. Darkwings lands the charm, but doesn't want to hard commit. Blaze actually says, you don't have your Orb of Deception anymore. You're going to have to Spirit Rush away from that one. And Darkwing's actually losing out. Oh, wait, is he going to go back in? What's happening here? We're just, like, taking turns.
Yeah, you know, League of Legends is a turn-based game, but not in a micro sense. So Darkwings will have to ult away, and Blaze might give them outside chances of actually like coming into this game, right? Already as the Ryle is completed, is still building up, will scale into this game literally infinitely, as long as you can continue to get that Stardust over the course of the regular game. But it's still so hard, right? Gamsu does not care about the Rylai slow at all, as long as his ult is running, has the Ghost, so he can keep up with Blaze as they astral flight their way around the map. And as we wait for this next dragon to actually spawn, it is a Hextech Soul that is going to be spawning onto the Rift. And Winnie, ooh, did he miss or did he get stopped? I think he missed.
I don't know actually. But no steadfast presence on Hyper, and guess who's here? Skytech to knock you up, charm you up, and take you down. Hyper in his own jungle picked off, as Blaze has to retreat all the way to the tier 2 turret. AOE find a big pick.
Yeah, right before the dragon as well. No opportunity for Keeper's Verdict to try and find another steal coming in for Hyper. Instead, AOE still in full control of the upcoming map, and I'm actually a little bit surprised that Instinct is still sticking around to, you know, screw around, find a couple of extra souls.
Hey, he's got the 1 kill on the team, so he's the carry.
True.
Actually, does a lot of damage to Skytech, who should be a little careful, a little wary of just walking up to drop wards down into the enemy jungle. AOE should get this 3rd dragon of the game, though.
With a 7,000 gold lead here, it does feel as though AOE, this is a little bit closer to how I was kind of expecting game 1 to actually go, but a couple of plays going FlyFam's way early on, and now this time, as we look at it, FlyFam have some tools to get fights started, but again, as we were looking at before, all of the engage tools feel like secondary engage tools, right? Gragas needs to come in with a flank, which makes it hard for him to just send it straight at the other team. Sword can be primary engage if he's playing from Fog of War, but that requires either a flank or bushes to play around. And of course, Hyper can only really be primary engage when there is a flank going on as well. So FlyFam has to be a little bit more imaginative in the things that they want to do. And to be honest, FlyFam have not been super imaginative with the ways that they have been able to look for fights.
True. And it reminds me of a discussion, a debate I remember you and I think it was Cubby and Kelsey Moser last year having. Does Tom Kench count as primary engage?
Yeah.
Well, you know, this counts as primary engage as Blaze in the side lane gets picked off. What do you think about Tom Kench? How is he primary engage?
So the big reason why Tom Kench can be primary engage if you have Fog of War is that the circle that your teammates see where you're going to be popping up in a second, your opponents don't see right away. It takes them a little bit of time to actually see where you're going to be going. But if you do it in plain sight where they can see what you're doing, they're going to be backing up already and they have enough time to get away. But if they don't have the Fog of War...
Ooh, hard engage here from Hyper. Steadfast Presence that may be a little late. Keeper's Verdict to knock up Skytech, but he just battle dances right on back to Lynx and is fine.
Oh.
Now Gamsu here on the Olaf. Got 2 items completed. Can he survive? Ragnarok pops. He's taking a lot of damage. Sword keeping Hyper alive, but the drain tank from Gamsu is too much. He stays alive through it. And now, even with Blaze here joining in on the fight, they just don't have the damage to kill anybody from AOE.
Just not there. Not quite yet. Blaze still needs a lot more Stardust, but hey, look at this. Darkwings gets the inhibitor turret before 20 minutes. It creates another point of pressure as well. So we'll see if Sword can be a bit more imaginative. You do need to use the Fog of War so that your opponents don't have time to react. Gamsu? Not gonna find it. They will find the red buff.
Look at how fast he heals off of this. With Ravenous, with Gore Drinker. Okay, actually, no, not that much. He'll pour it out.
Yeah. Knows that he doesn't have any friends left on this side of the map. On, you know, the FlyFam side of the map. And oh my gosh.
Nah,
anybody's going to just, like, start it, it would be AOE.
Yeah, that's big Winnie energy.
Big win energy?
Big Winnie G. No.
Winnie energy.
Hyper, getting hunted right now. Throws up the dog emote.
Hey, we've seen this play before.
They're really going for this. Has Steadfast Presence, holding it for now, doesn't stop the Vault Breaker and just flashes away, but the rest of the team is there. You can't Steadfast Presence the Vild. So Hyper picked off.
Yeah, we saw that exact play just moments before up against Blaze. This time it's up against Hyper. Does use a flash to try and get out, but with no jungler left on the field, AOE rocketing to an early lead. What is that? 10,000 gold, 21 minutes into the game. A Dragon Soul is going to be spawning for them in about a minute and a half. I don't know. This feels... I wonder what the communications for FlyFam are actually sounding like, right? Because when games start to get like this, they either tend to get goofy, which is a good thing.
Hold spirit, hold morale.
Yeah, or they get sad. And that's when games kind of suck to play.
You know that the game's pretty much over. It's just... looking for those miracles, which, to be fair, they almost found in Game 1. Shoutouts to Hyper for getting the Baron Steal and Instinct for playing the fights well. And also, I want to go back to the Instinct thing. This series has been a much better look for Instinct. I'm actually pretty impressed, given the circumstances he's finding himself in these game states, for actually holding on. And Lunacia having an uncharacteristically rough series of games. Maybe understandable given the fact that he's trying out different champs, trying out a new look.
Yeah. And also the amount of attention that Winnie has paid towards the top lane, try and help out Gamsu.
Here's an engage now onto Lunacia. Speaking of, Gragas just picked off Hyper between his own turrets. Can't play much more safe than that, but it doesn't matter because AOE, wherever they go, their gold lead. It jingles. They got a lot of coins in that pocket. Blaze looks for a big engage now, but it looks flashier than it actually is. Did not do a lot of damage to AOE.
Yeah. I mean, jingly coins, right? Fun for AoE, but not for Batman as they start hitting the inhibitor turret as well. Remember, they already got the first inhibitor turret up on the top side of the map. AoE, are they actually going to get this one as well?
I don't think they'll get the inhibitor turret. Oh, that's Feather Storm from Lynx. Charm goes wide. Does Sword want to hard force something here? Hyper's looking for it, and Gamsu's not with them. So this actually is a short little window where FlyFam could do it, but now the teleport comes in from Gamsu. Sword's down. Skytech engages onto Blaze. And with Baron still on these minions, AoE, this could just be the end of the game. Dragon Soul's on the table. Do they go for the inhibitor and Soul, or do they just push to end it?
I know they could potentially get all 3 inhibs here. Blaze is still dead.
Oh, yeah, the game's just over now. Hyper's out of it, too. It's Lunacia and Instinct versus the world. Low health bars on Skytech and Winnie. Okay, wait, never mind. They're backing off.
Everybody evacs. They do it at the same enough time. Lunacia can't actually get in. Now they're going to be doing it. Probably want one more person as Lynx does hop over the wall in order to help out with this. The Texas Dragon does hurt, but, I mean, Soul... an inhibitor is already down. You're starting to fight in the opponent's base. 14,000 gold lead. AoE, as long as they continue to find these wins, they do have a short rest of the season left. They have, oh no, they have 4 more games left after this. Evil Geniuses, and then Dignitas. So AoE, picking up these wins is really big for their opportunity to potentially move up in the standings because they are very close behind Immortals and TSM. They're not going to catch FlyQuest Challengers almost definitely, but finding themselves at 10th is a big difference than it would be at 12th.
The difference in your first round opponent is pretty substantial. It's a 16-team league. The difference between the teams in the top of the standings, it's only a 6-game spread between first place and 9th place. So if you're in 12th right now and you're able to move further up, you'll get a better opponent for sure. Just how the way standings work.
Structures start dying, AOE cleaning this up fairly cleanly, really in control. They made a couple of mistakes down towards the bottom side of the map, but I mean, good game coming out from Hyper. We're good.
Final engage from SkyTech. Blaze is out yet again. Steadfast presence from Hyper deters the further engage, but now comes AOE underneath the Nexus turrets. They are ready to go home. A day well spent on Summoner's Rift with a swift 2-0 over FLYF, and AOE starting off their long weekend with a victory.
That's a pretty big morale boost coming through. Game 1, a little bit shaky. Game 2, very, very dominant, 25-20 on the scoreboard. Already cracking inhibitors by the 20-minute mark. I mean, AOE just felt in control in that one, top to bottom. So as they find a couple more wins, we'll see if they can improve to potentially even 10th in the standings as they do move up a little bit further.
12-14 now. So they are maybe favored against Evil Genius's challengers based on the current standings. They are technically ahead of them. If they 2-0 that, they would be 50-50 going into their final match of the weekend. That wouldn't be too bad.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
I mean, just breaking over that 500 mark is, I think, all of these provisional teams like real dream that they need to try and do.
It's still just crazy to me that breaking the 500 mark does not actually get you into the top half of the league because of how kind of lopsided it's been so far. But that's it for the final series of the day. All that's left is an interview with one of the Victorious members from AOE, so we're going to send it to a short break while Sierra gets set up with that. We'll see you after this.
Welcome back, everyone, to our Verizon post-match interview, where I'm going to be joined by Lynx from AOE Gold after the 2-0 victory. First off, congratulations. The first game, I mean, it definitely dragged on a little bit, but definitely a lot faster work of that second one. How are you feeling after this victory tonight?
I feel pretty good. The first game, yeah, it kind of got off the rails in the beginning, but I think we picked it up, started being more focused in the second game, so it feels good to end with a 2-0.
Yo, especially too, you have a long weekend ahead of you, so playing Evil Genius's Challengers tomorrow, then the day after that, Dignitas Challengers. How are you feeling about this?
I think the schedule kind of worked out the best it could for us. It's like kind of like a ladder, like we have to step up each day, like the level of teams. So we've just been preparing all week, and I think we'll have a strong showing.
Love to hear that. And you say too, that's like a ladder, like the team has to step up. How have you and the team feel now that we're on week 7 of the split here? Everything kind of meshing together. How are you feeling?
Yeah, we kind of had a storming phase in the middle of the season. We were kind of losing a lot of games, dropping games we shouldn't. A couple 0-2 weekends, but I think right now we're getting like pretty more comfortable with each other, and like the team is performing a lot better.
Love to hear that. And then moving forward, what is AOE's goal then going into playoffs and even furthermore on?
I think we just want to have a stronger showing than we did in the regular season, because right now I think we're hovering around like the 12th, 10th area, so trying to compete against the top academy teams is our goal right now.
And then I want to talk about a little bit about your own journey in League of Legends, because you've been playing for a few years now, you know, collegiate and like in this ecosystem now. What are your overall goals for your career in League of Legends?
Well, I think right now just short term is just getting to that academy level, because I've been hovering in the amateur collegiate scene for a while, like you said, like a year plus now. So just kind of bridging that gap, just improving on those like areas that I need to be able to push myself to academy level is definitely my goal right now.
I love to hear it. And then last but not least, because we were talking about it a bit before going live with the interview, but a little bit of chaos regarding the housing situation right now. You gotta tell everyone what you're telling me about what you're using as a table right now, the furniture situation.
Yeah, so we've been kind of lazy, haven't really got all of our furniture together. So right now, like the table we use in the living room is just our computer chair boxes, but they're pretty sturdy, so it's not too bad. It's not as bad as it seems. But yeah, we're getting a couch, a table, all that pretty soon.
Hey, at least if they're sturdy, right? Because you don't want the dishes going everywhere. It's not the words that I thought that would be used to describe a computer chair box, but you know, it works. It works. Before I let you go to eat some dinner off of one of those boxes, any final words from you, Link?
Just thank you to all the fans, all the people watching. Thank you to AOE for allowing our whole team to be here. They're like paying for everything, just housing us, stuff like that. Very generous.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking with me. Have a good rest of your night, okay?
Bye.
Bye. As for us, we're gonna head back over to our caster desk so we can wrap up the day.
We love orgs that take care of their players. Woo! Thank you, Lynx.
We do, in fact. And hey, good victory. We talked about that first game taking a hot second, but second game definitely convincing. Wrap that up quick. Make sure that we can all go on with our night at this point.
Yeah, they sped ran that one. Game 1 was a banger. Game 2, they were like, nah, let's just
we're done with this. Let's get it out of here. Yeah, I mean, I'm just really excited as we look towards the top of the standings because Dignitas have 4 games left to play and are only 1 win behind Cloud9, who only have 2 games left to play.
Oh.
Eric, I can feel that smooth skin already.
Ooh, that's interesting. FlyQuest, meanwhile, now have a lot of ground to make up. They're a little bit behind the games played to Team Liquid and Wildcard, but they have to win now. They out of the 2 series they have left, right? FlyQuest Challengers have 2 more?
Yep, Golden Guardians and Immortals.
Okay. Yes. One of those is really tough. One of those is definitely winnable. I mean, I think both are winnable,
easy
but like
for FlyQuest, easy peasy.
It's gonna be tight to get into the top 8.
We'll see. I believe. But next couple of days definitely gonna be really big for a couple of our teams as well, just for Deserex's and Joshi's sake at this point. So excited to see how that all shakes up. But that is, of course, everything for tonight.
Wait. I do want to get something out before we go. We are obviously coming up on our most valuable prospect. It is going to be a regular season award, as it has always been, that we will reveal towards the end of playoffs. I want you guys to get involved in the discussion as well at Path to LCS. Use the hashtag NACL on who you think the most valuable prospects have been throughout this regular season so far. Remember, our criteria: all the wins that they would get next year count for 1 point. All the wins that they would get in their second year count for 2 points.
Okay. Here's the thing: we're looking at not just the short term. We're looking at like where they're gonna be. This is investing in our future. So you could also just vote for whoever's, taking some names.
You could also vote for whoever we're about to raid.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could just vote for your favorite player at that point.
Yeah, we might have a little bit of different criteria, but thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure to come back tomorrow to see how your teams are shaking up, and make sure to go send some love to the person we're going to raid. I mean, Joshi, we were talking about this earlier. His Twitch bio says that he mains way different champions than we've gotten to see.
His Twitch bio says he's an Aurelion Soul main.
Right, so maybe y'all can go get him to play some Aurelion Soul instead of some Garen. But yeah, we're gonna go raid Moose Hater. Have a fantastic night, though, everyone. We will see you tomorrow. Stay safe.
Happy
and have
Thanksgiving.
Fun. Wait, what?